Hi, my name is Annick and I am a Lensbaby ambassador. I was one of the lucky Lensbaby ambassadors to have access wholly to the new optic, which will be released soon or has been released, depending on when you watch this video. So the new optic is called the Soft Focus 2, and it's got a very velvety look for those of you who have the velvet lenses. But it's like Craig said, and Craig is the co-founder of Lensbaby. It's a velvet on crack. I don't have any velvet lenses here, so I was not used to play with glow on my pictures, so I must admit that I struggled at the very beginning because I like to shoot wide open. And wide open with this optic means a lot of glow, and I like to have details of my subject face, and so I have to adjust at the very beginning. And I also had to get used to set my aperture between f4 and f5.66, which is not usual for me. I'm sure that it's not your usual aperture too, but the results are really great with these aperture settings when you are shooting your family like I'm doing. So today I want to have a soft focus on storytelling to help you to get started with this lens. So, sorry, 5 things to keep in mind, and it's these tips are working for any lenses that you might have, but I want you to see how it worked with the soft focus. So first of all, and it's always the same thing, it's always at the very beginning of my storytelling list, illuminate the moment, the mood. You want your subject to shine, unless it's a silhouette. But you want your subject to be the star of your picture, and one way to do that is to make sure that the light is hitting your subject. Second things to keep in mind, capture the strongest part of the moment that you are shooting at. The way I'm doing it, for those of you who know me, I always shoot in burst mode, and it's not because I shoot and pray, it's because I really know what I want to have as a final result, and I'm not a girl that like to compromise, so I want the best facial expression at the best moment of the action shot, so I shoot in burst mode. And it's for some people, having 500 pictures to cull down, it's huge. For me, I can do this in 5 minutes because I really know in each sequence what I'm looking for, so it's really easy. Another things to keep in mind when you are storytelling, even though you are you are the audience for your pictures and you are not shooting for Instagram or for a brand, it's always fun to have something unexpected. It's changed from the everyday pictures, so I am always on the quest of to find something unexpected, and I will show you 2 pictures that to me are unexpected. I also try to add visual interest in post-processing, so it's always in my mind, always, how can I strengthen the storytelling with my post-processing. Sometimes it's really quick, sometimes I will open Photoshop and add some light overlay, some snow overlay, but I really want my pictures to shine, and I try to do it in camera, but sometimes it's just not possible because the sun was not there, the snow stopped to snow, and I tried to bring it back in post-processing. And finally, I always try to strengthen my composition, so it's my tips for you. Few tricks here: add a framing element, create a 3D feeling with depth, so to make sure that your subject is not stuck in your frame. Make room for him to breathe, for the gaze to be gazing at something and not gazing at the edge of the frame. You want to use leading lines to do that too. It really helps to create a stage and not a one-dimension feeling. And finally, and it's proper to this lens, so use the right amount of glow. Too much glow will kill your storytelling, and if there is not a lot of glow, it will be like you are shooting at f22 and all will be sharp and there will be no subject isolation. So it's important with this lens, which has a lot of glow, to pick the right amount of glow, because you want some details. Sometimes you don't want details because you're shooting for like an atmospheric mood, and that's totally fine. Just be aware of what you want in your picture. I don't have my picture at f8 here with my kids on this sofa on the couch, but I didn't pick this picture here because it's a f8 aperture, and my kids, yes, are in focus, but also all my decoration, all my plants, and everything. So it's not interesting. It's just like a snapshot because I wanted so badly to have my kids both in focus that I compromised with the storytelling side of the picture. So they are doing something great. They are all cuddle, but if everything is it's on the same. Everything is in focus, so nothing is shining, So to me, it's a fail. So I should have shown you because sometimes we like to see the fail of other photographers. But yeah, make sure that when you think about strengthening your composition, that your subject is the star and there is no competition in your frame for your attention. Okay, so that being said, I create a quick collection for you to see how my pictures look with this optic. So this is they are all, of course, taken with the soft focus too, and this one was taken at f4, and it was morning, and she was using our iPad, so I simply hunt for a good quality light, because as you might know, sometimes there is blue light, green light, red light, pink light, yellow light on your kid's face, depending on what they are watching or playing. So here I wait patiently for the light to be white. And at f4, what I like is the iPad is also sharp, and so are her eyes, and to me it's the right amount of glow here. And I use the Omni filter at the bottom of my lens to add some visual interest, and because it was kind of boring at the bottom of the frame, so I simply play with my stretch glass Omni to get this effect here. Here it's an example of shooting something unexpected. So while I was getting used to this lens, I went outside with my son, and I simply tell him, could you simply throw snow in the air? And instead of like throwing the snow on his side, he simply sorry, he simply throw the snow on his face. So the composition is not that great. I think I have cropped this a lot because it was boring. But yeah, you can see. And I didn't. I finished to. I don't know if I will keep this picture or not. I still need to find the best crop for this. But I still wanted to show you how this optic play with the light here. And as you can see, I was at f4, and the detail on the snow, if I reset this, there is not that much detail, but it's still there. So I try to enhance this with a lot of textures and clarity in post-processing. And I also, of course, played with the white balance to get rid of this blue hue here. So I think it's unexpected because you can see his face, and I think it's funny. Okay, so this is the final result, and this is the original. It was snowing on and off that day, but the sky was not that white, but yes, it was covered, but there was some blue hint to it, which is not quite obvious here. So I played in Lightroom at the beginning, so I used my preset, but I really need to increase a lot the textures and the clarity sliders, and also the DA's one, to get the textures back on the snow. but it was not enough, so I played with the gradient filter. Oh, this is one. So I start with the sky one, so you can, I don't know if you know it, you can select sky here, and then you can apply your brush work. So I simply decrease the exposure, up the contrast, and decrease the highlights and the shadows here, and add a bit of a DAs too. But there is no coloration added, but you can see that the sky got a blue hue simply by removing the exposure. And I did the same thing, but at the bottom of the frame to get more textures again on the snow. So I upped the texture, the clarity, but I decreased the dehaze here because it was too much. But I decreased the exposure too. So it's already a good before and after, but something to me was missing. So I open up Photoshop and I simply add a snow overlay. And to me, this is how I felt that day. It was a fun day. It was joyous. We had fun as a family. And I think that the snow element that we experimented during that day was missing in the picture. So I simply had it. Here is another example of an unexpected element. I'm sure you are well aware that this is not how we do a snow angel, but for my daughter, this is her version of snow angel. So I tried, it was funny. Not I tried, but I thought it was funny, and I decided to capture it. So again, here I'm at f4 or 5.6 here, and you can see that the detail are not so apparent, so I bring them back with a lot of texture and clarity here. So original, there is not too much glow, but there is some glow on the snow that makes the textures a bit hard to see on the snow. Here is a picture I wanted to show you to capture the right moment. So she was trying to fill off this thing that we call a trois ski in French. I don't know how you call this in English. Three ski, I don't know. Let's say trois ski in French. And she tried at each time she was smiling to get off of the trois ski. And I like this one because she is really in between, and I like that. So just need to finish this edit and to remove the tag here because it's annoying to my eyes. Okay, this picture, I'm sure you are familiar with homeschooling in COVID times. So this is my version of homeschooling, remote schooling, in fact, because I was working in the basement while she was attending school on her iPad. Here I try to deepen my composition to make it more interesting. So I just bought that new plant here and I try to use it as a framing element. But you really need to balance your frame here because, as you can see, it's a very strong visual element. It's a very beautiful plant too. And in other shots that I did, the leaf was too big on the frame and it was distracting and it was stealing the show. And I wanted the show to be about my daughters being at school. So I tried to get the right amount of that leaf here to not detract the picture. And I also played a lot with the vibrancy and saturation of this pencil case. It's very bright pink. She chose this. But it was distracting because my eyes went straight there, and I don't like that because I want my eyes to go to my subject first, and then I want to see the iPad, and then I want to be able to look at the surroundings. So I really played with the coloration here to still be true to life because my audience is my family. Yes, I'm posting on Instagram, but I'm doing all these pictures for my family. I'm the memory keeper of the family. So I don't want to change the color of the pencil case because she picked the pencil the pencil case at the beginning of the school. So just be aware of your composition, framing element, your lines, the colors, but you want to have a balanced frame. So a quick trick to know if your frame is balanced, just zoom out a bit. And what do you see first? What do you see second? And what do you see third? So if your subject is not what you see first, you know that something is wrong. Okay, so this picture, it's a landscape one, obviously. I took it at f8, if I remember well. And if you look at the original, I underexposed it on purpose, but it's way too much underexposed. But luckily, I was able to recover the details here because I was shooting at a very low ISO. So here I tried to really enhance the mood here. So I played with my post-processing to deepen the storytelling. It was gray, it was raining on and off, and it was raining, I think, when I took that picture, maybe not. But yeah, I think it rained 5 minutes later because I remember I was all wet when I was back at the cottage. So here I wanted to emphasize the atmosphere, the blue sky, and I simply played with the color white balance here. I wanted a blue hue overall color scheme to make the fall color pop. So orange and blue, so these are complementary colors, ish, and it really created a nice tension when you look at the picture. I could have done this differently. I could have tried to deepen the depth here. So instead of going on the blue side here at the bottom of the frame, I could have had some warmth. So warm in front of the picture and cool hues in the background increase the depth. So it really depends on what you want to do. But here I was aiming to bluish color palette here. And yeah, that's it. So also a way to strengthen or to deepen your composition is to have a foreground element. So this is acting as my foreground element. This is my middle ground, and this is the foreground element. And the last one I want to show you, this picture was taken the day after the previous one that we were looking at. So unfortunately, because of the very rainy day and windy day we have the previous day, the leaves fell down very quickly. But I really like that we have the warm tones here and the cooler hues in the background. So the depth is there. There is a tension between warm color in the foreground and the cold color in the background, and I really like that she is gazing straight ahead. So when you look at this picture, you see my daughter, and then you follow the gaze that you don't see, but you know because of the position of her head that she is looking straight ahead. So you keep going, and then you can see the lake, the mountains, the clouds, and then you circle back to my daughter, and you can see that it was wet because she's wearing gum boots. And I also like that she has collected some leaves here. She was making a collection to bring back at home. So that's it. I'm guessing I have other pictures here, but maybe this one I can show you. So I was trying to capture her at bedtime. She was playing with shaking teeth, and she was also looking at a video on my phone while I was trying to take pictures with my new soft focus 2 baby. And I like the light that is coming from the bedside table lamp. I try to speak English here, right? So she has some nice side light here, which help for the 3D feelings too, and for some depth, even though there is not a lot of depth. But you have this foreground element, the middle ground, and not a lot of background here, but yeah, because there is more like 2 focal planes in this picture, but because you can only see the light and you can see the lamp, to me it helps to increase the depth of the picture, because the element is missing, but you can see that there is something. So your brain is recomposing the bedroom in its head. That's all. So as you can see, I didn't take any wide open shots so far, but I like to play with the f4. This is my favorite aperture so far. It's the right amount of glow to my liking. So I will let you on that. I hope it was interesting, clear, fun, and let's meet on Instagram. Go find me. My name is Annick Photographe, Annick Paradis Photographe on Instagram. Photographe means photographer. It's a French word. Yeah, I hope I was clear. I hope you didn't mind my mistakes when I was speaking in my second language. And come say hi. I will be very happy to see you. Bye-bye. Thank you for having me.